Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our live stream, our regular Monday live stream. And tonight, just for the lulz, we are also streaming to the anti-free speech platform YouTube. Hello, YouTube, as well as, of course, all the other free speech platforms like such as Gettr, such as Rumble, such as BrandNewTube, such as Odyssey, and such as DLive. Yes, so wherever you are, anyway, you're all very welcome. Now, I'm going to do the thing that I always do, and that is I just want to bring up, excuse me, I just want to bring up the Gettr live stream, which I can kind of do on screen, hopefully. So if I just want to check, I'm live over there because I'm certainly live here. So let me just check. Yes, I can see it. I can see. Gosh, the one thing Leslie says, I've had my jabs times 4. That's not enough jabs, Leslie. You need to have at least 16 jabs because remember, we're on the YouTubes and we know that they're 100% safe and we're 100% effective. Remember that. Or So anyway, welcome. And I say thanks to those folks joining over on the Gettrs. Hi Joshua, hi Albert, Northern Monkey, and of course my very good friend Lara 8. Lara, it's good to see you as well on the stream. It's always fantastic to be amongst such wonderful patriotic people, whichever side of the channel you're on. Now, I want to do a couple of quick shout outs. Our premium podcast went out yesterday, Sunday. So if you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. Link is below. 30 minutes of from yours truly, which in contrast to the little bite-sized ones that I do. So make sure you subscribe to the premium podcast. And also, if you enjoy the work that we do and you want to help us and give us a little support, then buy me a coffee, link below. As you can see, I'm having a coffee. So, well, you can't see it, but there's a coffee in there. DonorBox, link below as well. You can do that. So if you want to give us a little bit of support, you can do that. Or you can become a super fan of the podcast, as some of you very shrewd people have. And that also helps defray the cost of doing all of this. So just wanting to say, hi, Magadeb, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the live stream as well. Good to see you. Good to see all my friends, both sides of the Atlantic. You know something, folks? There's so much more than that unites us than divides us. I think the one thing that we've all got in common, we're all freedom-loving people. Hi, Jane, by the way. Hi, Chris Davies, Peter, Joe Cool, Billy Piper Tate. So many names, so little. If I just read out all your names, it would be a really boring, really boring stream. So I'm not going to do that. And of course, as is always, when we put these streams out, I'm always conscious you've got lots of choice. So you could listen to other people. But listen, where are you going to get the content that we're going to put your way? We're going to talk about, well, Alice in Wonderland and tax. We're going to talk about that because I think that might prove quite interesting. And we're going to talk about, I'm seeing your comments, by the way, coming in, which always amuses me. We're going to chat about that. We're going to talk about, we mustn't forget the whole issue of women's sport, and in particular regard, the achievements of the England women's football team, or not, as the case may be. Oh, God, he's being controversial about women's football. Yeah, he is. He's going to talk about that. And we have got, lots and lots of other good content to get to. I could have talked about by the way, all of you American people watching this one, right? What do you reckon Nancy Pelosi's chances are of coming back from Taiwan? What do you reckon? Northern Monkey, I only wish there was a whiskey in this coffee, but I'm afraid there's not. Thanks 77 some guy, thank you so much for your kind comments. Yeah, is Nancy practicing her parachuting skills? What do you reckon? Do you think it's all going to go swimmingly fine? I wonder what's going to happen to tomorrow night. I think it's tomorrow night she's due to land in Taipan. So yeah, that's interesting. It's as if the Biden administration, they've mucked up in Afghanistan. They've absolutely mucked up in Ukraine. So what they're trying to do a victory lap, and they're going to muck up in the east. I wonder what you think. What do you uh, reading comments about Nancy Pelosi. Billy Piper says, I thought Pelosi was made in Taiwan with that grin. Well, she's got that kind of fixed in aspect grin. Yes, Magadeb, I'm hoping that she'll be parachuting out of her plane. But I mean, I don't know what you guys make of this. Well, undoubtedly we will cover this on Wednesday on the live stream. But it is quite remarkable. I don't see why she needs to fly to Taiwan, apart from the fact that Donald Trump, if you watched some of his tweets earlier today or his posts on Truth Social earlier today, was suggesting that maybe she was calling in a few favors for some of those shareholding that her and her totally ethical husband have. Totally. So yeah, I daren't repeat some of these comments, by the way, because we don't often, as YouTubers here will be able to understand, we can't often stream to YouTube because the things that I talk about, YouTube don't want me to talk about. Okay, so we can't talk about the jabs, we can't talk about the Ukrainians. Oh no, we can't talk about those things. We can't talk about other things to do with the White House. No, that's all misinformation, and we completely support YouTube's policies on this. So therefore, we do it rarely, but just for tonight, just for the laugh, I thought we'd do YouTube. And I do welcome, oh, by the way, suffice to say, I value all of you people who come and watch me on YouTube. I just wish you would make the move across to the Gettrs, and then I could eventually abandon YouTube. But anyway, regardless, Stevie McIntosh says, Nancy's going to be okay as long as she's got her whiskey. Or is it her vodka? What is it that's making this woman do this trip? I don't know. I just don't know. Honestly, I'm sure you American folks feel the same as we Brits feel. When you look at the absolute state of the governing administration, from Sleepy Joe to right the way through Kamala, for which I can't even find the words, down through Pelosi, Schumer, all the rest of them, it's a complete goon squad. And it's so damaging to, of course, the wonderful country that is the United States. That's the problem. Leslie Butler says, I'm sorry, but I can't comment on the other channels. You can comment on Gettr, though, Leslie. You can't comment on Gettr. It works exactly the same as the YouTubes. But anyway, I'm just glad you're here. I don't mind. I really don't mind. It's just that, as I say, I'm so limited on what I can talk about when I'm doing it this way. But the topics tonight, anyway, let's talk about the topics tonight. Now, I wanted to start off with a little bit of wisdom for you folks. And it's from Alice in Wonderland. Now, we're going to bring it up in a second, but this is my quirky way of talking about something which people might think is otherwise terribly dull, terribly dull. I'm going to talk about tax, right? Well, I know instantly people are going, right, that's the live stream, stop. No, it's not. Listen to, let me put up the words from Alice in Wonderland to start with. Here we go. The rule is jam today, jam tomorrow and jam yesterday, but never, never, never jam today. It's a quote from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. And I'm sure all of you super smart folks who are watching this understand exactly what this is referring to. What it means is, we can talk about promises, and we can promise you things that might happen yesterday and things that might happen tomorrow, but we can't talk about things that can happen today because, we might be held responsible for that, you see. So just bear in mind the words of Alice in Wonderland. And yes, let's now turn to the equally nauseating subject of the so-called Conservative Party leadership. They who would become the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, they who will, of course, be Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum stooges, the two of them, Rishi and Liz, Queen Liz. And we're gonna talk about some of the promises they've been making you. or not so much you, because they don't care about you. They care about their 160,000 odd Conservative members who will be voting in 5 weeks' time, and thus anointing the next leader of the Conservative Party. So let's bring up, first of all, Dishy Rishi. Oh, no, it's not Dishy Rishi. It's Dishy Liz Truss. There, look at that fine figure of a woman. Can Trussonomics work? There's no reason to believe, says this commentator, that Liz Truss's tax cuts would pay for themselves or reduce inflation. Well, of course not. Nobody thinks that they will. No sane person thinks that Liz Truss's commitments she's going to reduce tax, the tax hikes that her own administration, of which she was a part of put in place. Oh, right, she's going to reduce those. Thanks, by the way, those who have hopped across. Hi, Summer Night Sue as well. Good to see you, obviously, all you guys. Claude says, you're talking about Harry Miller's arrest over the gay swastika meme. Are you crazy? Can I talk, Claude, about that on the YouTubes? A good friend, Harry Miller, Harry the Oil. I remember I met him back in 6 months ago. Actually, just FYI, this is just by the way. Actually, Magadeb just says, Gettr is great and Truth Social is getting there. And that's a very good point. I've started to put a lot more stuff out on Truth Social. And you know something, to all of you Brits, the more of you join us over on Truth Social, the more lively it will be as well. You're going to have this mega patriotic brew, Brits, Americans, other nationalities as well, where there are patriots. I mean, there's some Australians, there's the odd New Zealander, I guess. And we all should be on these platforms. And certainly I'm enjoying the Truth Social Magadeb. So I'm fully on board with Truth Social, as I am with Gab. I'm on with Gab as well. So, hey, David, pour cognac. Looking forward to the show. Hey, obviously, great to see you here. I hope you enjoy the cognac equally as much as you enjoy the show. So, anyway, let's talk. So look, that was Liz Truss's, her tax promises that they're going to be somehow affordable. All nonsense. But never mind, because I'll see your tax rises and I'll raise you some tax decreases rather. Bring up Dishy Rishi Sunak. Here he is, the man himself. Here he is taking, as you do, a selfie of yourself watching the footy. Oh yeah, because it's ever so man of the people. Rishi Sunak pledges a 20% tax cut by the end of the decade in a desperate pitch to members. Hi, Jason. Yeah, switch over to Gettr. Let's see how many of you YouTubers can make the big jump across, desert the anti-free speech YouTube. Someone asked me, why do you even still put anything in YouTube? Because I don't want to abandon all my friends in YouTube. That's why I'm completely conflicted about it. I love all my followers. I hate YouTube. Can I be more clear in that? Thanks, those of you who are jumping. I do appreciate. I understand. Like, when you're on something like YouTube for a long time, it's very, very easy to become. It's part of what you know. And so when these new things like Gettr comes along and whatnot, then it's very natural that you want to stick with what you know. But you know me, and I'm the same over on Gettr and all the other platforms as I am on YouTube, but more so. That's potentially what you need to know. Back to anyway. So Rishi, he's going to cut your taxes by 20%. Oh, really? How are you going to do that? Magic. How I'm going to do that is by becoming prime minister. All right. So Rishi, the deal is we make you prime minister, and then you'll do these magic tax cuts, even though you've spent the past 2 years splurging the cash and now putting up the taxes to pay for the splurging of the cash. How does that one work, Rishi? I think we need to put this in context. Here's a little bit of historical context for you folks who like to understand the broader picture. Let's bring up a chart which I dug out before we came on the show. This is just over the past 21 years. Like you know what I mean? I'm not going back to turn of the last century. But from 2000 to 2021, there we go. The government in billions are raking in your taxes. These are the tax receipts in the UK. And you can see there was a short dip when we had the big recession back in, around about then, 29, 2009, when the economy collapsed. So, so you would expect that. But then if you track right forward, you can see COVID also saw a decrease in taxes. And then, boom, they bounced up again. And this is really my main point. Here is the point in this one. The point is that it doesn't matter whether it's conservative or whether it's a Labour government. Don't be fooled by that. They exist to take your money to feather their own nests. And I can show this in another chart which we've got, which we're going to bring up now. And this is how the public sector, look at public sector receipts, almost, 916 billion. That's getting close to, is that close to $1 trillion? Any mathematicians on the stream, do let me know. And look at where the money, the receipts are coming in. So income tax, well, it's the biggie. I'd like to see income tax brought down to a marginal rate of 0. National insurance contributions, again, it's huge. And that's, by the way, what's being put up. Just seeing the comments there, a chat between Lara and Maga Deb regarding Truth Social and support function. Absolutely. Function. Gettr's great on support, by the way. And then corporation tax, like 66 billion. And you can see it going down there. See, here's my real problem. My real problem is I resent all of these taxes. I would like to see pretty much every form of taxation gone. Taxation, in my mind, is theft. It's theft. So I don't, so I seriously, that's what, exactly, Jane Oxley. The government makes sure their salaries are above average, of course. But the reason, Jane, that their salaries are above average is because they can, they're taking your taxes to feed themselves. And this is why the best government is a small government. The best government is a restricted government. Bring taxes to as flat a level as you can. I hear people say, "Oh, David, but you're forgetting the fact. Look at the Nordic countries; they're so happy, and yet they're socialist and they're taxing themselves to the pipsqueaks." Well, I don't know if they're happy or not. I'm not sure they're that happy. Not when I check out some of the demographics in Sweden and Norway and even Finland, for that matter. No, I'm not sure they're that happy. But I don't care. I don't care. I believe that every pound or every dollar that you folks earn, you should keep it. The government should not be allowed to get it. Jed says it here. I completely agree. Jed saying taxation is theft, pure and simple. It is, Jed, absolutely theft. And I just think it's completely. It's iniquitous. It's iniquitous. As 77, just some guy says, all the tax paid over a lifetime is over half your lifetime's income. Yeah, it is. It's slavery. We are being slave. We are slaves to the state. And by the way, Chris Davies, vote for me. I'll cut your taxes. I'll cut your taxes to 0 if I had my way. I would. And of course, the only way you can cut taxes here, and hi, Gorgon Knight, by the way, good to see you. Great to see you. Dave Barker as well. Here's the thing. The only way you can cut taxes if you're prepared to cut the state. You can't do both. You cannot have a big state and low taxes. It's impossible. So some people think that's a problem. It's not a problem for me. I want to cut the state. I want to see people hold on to their own cash. And then you use your cash as you see fit. And I use the word cash advisedly, actually, rather than, digital assets. Use your cash. Leslie B. Change your name. You're Posey. Good at one of the things that always confuses me is when people use different names in different platforms. Change it, Leslie, so I know it's you. Moody Bot, no taxation without representation. Well, you don't get, this is the thing. Look, at the end of the day, America, the reason there is a United States of America is because the British monarch tried to tax the people excessively. And they resented that. Good on them. the spirit of 1776, it's alive and well in me. I don't know about you guys, but I happen to. Hi, Andrew Oldsworth, by the way. Good to see you. And Billy Piper's teeth. Gosh, we're getting more and more of the YouTubers all the way over onto the Gettrs, which is amazing. Thank you guys for doing that for me. Hi, Spiver, by the way. Good to see you. And you make the very good point, Spiver. The most successful economies are low tax, low regulations, encouraging free enterprise. Absolutely. Look at somewhere like Singapore, for example. There's a great example of a small place geographically, but it's got a really, really good approach to things like tax and other matters, So the days of the Boston Tea Party may be in the past, but as Brian Boru points out, they are the essence. Hi, Louise, by the way. They are the essence of what brought about the United States of America. And I'm just seeing some more names here so I can understand. Trying to read. Stu Frost, David, I'm sat nav on Podbean. Yeah. So hi, COVID virgin, by the way. COVID vax virgin, I should say. Vax virgin, you mean you haven't taken 16 shots of the jab like Dr. Anthony Fauci told you? How dare you, COVID vax virgin, not take your 16 shots? Everybody knows that the vaccines are 100% safe and 100% effective. Isn't that right, YouTube? You want me to say that, don't you? So anyway, yeah. Lara, YouTube is censoring like mad. YouTube censored the hell out of me to the point where I'm thinking, what is the point of being on YouTube? And the only point for me being on YouTube is the fact that there's some of you guys are over there, and I've got huge respect for you. I've got no respect whatsoever for YouTube, though. Absolutely none. Yes, COVID vax virgin. I'm with you regarding Dr. Fauci. I wonder, has he recovered from his COVID, by the way? He was unwell with COVID. Hi, Leslie. Good to see you, my friend, Leslie Oles. Great. All the gang are now here on Gettr. I can see most of the gangs on Gettr. I don't want to isolate you if you're on YouTube, by the way. But John Hillhouse, good to see you as well. But what I was sort of saying is that Dr. Fauci, has he recovered from his terrible bout of COVID he got? And what about the Professor Dr. Joe Biden, who seems to have he roughly gets COVID every 5 days, I think, every 5 to 6 days. Dr. Biden gets the coof. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird. Yes, Lara. The vax is indeed, it's so safe. Joe caught it for the second time in 10 days. Yeah. But hi, City Troll, by the way, our good friend. So yes. Listen, we can. I'll maybe talk more about Dr. Biden on Wednesday, because I don't think I'll be on YouTube on Wednesday. But anyway, we don't. We just. How do they push the insanity? I do not know, Lara. I don't. There's so much stuff I could talk to you about. So many topics. And Brian Boru does bring up a good point. Let's bring it up on screen. I don't suppose we're allowed to comment on why this might be, but it's sad, and it is a fact. So I don't think YouTube can censor me for saying this. 5 or 6 doctors died suddenly, and I think they're all middle-aged guys in Canada recently. Very sorry for their families. Death is tragic, but basically, you got to wonder about these things. But it is 100% safe and effective, Moody Bot. Yes, it is. Everyone loves the jabs. Everyone does. I put out, hey, I don't know if any of you guys ever over in Gettr, if you ever watch, Gettr Visions, but I do enjoy Gettr Visions just for the laugh. So I put out a Gettr Visions earlier today, which I daren't repeat in a million years on this particular stream. But I think maybe, I don't know if we can bring it. Maybe we can bring the Gettr Visions up. It's not me, of course. It's this green-faced monster type character who keeps popping up in my stream, and he keeps making these videos about his deep commitment to the jabs. Louis says, what about this? Don't pay UK. Are you calling it out with links to the Blair UNN or linking? Oh, right. Interesting. Didn't know that UNN. Yeah, are calling it out. Thing is, I mean, it's check out the vision if you want to laugh. If you want to laugh, if you just go into David Vance Visions on the tab, you will see it. Anyway, that's not. Let's move on. Let's move along. Yes, COVID vax virgin. Over my dead body will I get my kiddos vaxxed? Oh, absolutely. But again, we know, as I say, I'm conscious where we are here. We're broadcasting on an anti-free speech platform. But I enjoy it. The other reason I enjoy doing it here occasionally is that we dance. It's a little dance, we're doing with the good folks, the fact checkers on YouTube. Yeah, they're checking every fact. Lara says, who else of my pure blood brothers and sisters never caught COVID? Hands up. Hey, how are you still alive if you've not taken the jab and you still haven't got COVID? How can that be? I don't know. I haven't taken any of the jabs. Never been better. It's not straight. It's weird. It's weird. Actually, there's a serious point about that we could get into. There's some very serious points. But yeah, if you are pure blood, hit the button, just say yes or pure blood. Yeah, type that in. If you are pure blood, type it in. Let me see. Lara says it's the pandemic of the jabbed. Well, City Troll, of course it is. Of course. Yeah, you see, listen. Well, again, look, I don't want to divert down this rabbit hole too long. COVID vax virgin, but people do get infections. I mean, we all will understand that. We can all pick up bugs that can make us unwell. We maybe pick up colds. Thanks. I'm seeing the PBs, pure blood. Yeah, lots of pure bloods. Oh, I'm amongst my people. What can I say? People pick up all kinds of bugs and infections and colds and stuff, And of course, if people then test, it's the testing thing that's crucial here. If they test using PCR, which are 100% efficacious and accurate, right, YouTube, or the laddie flows, then, well, I guess anything's possible. Lara says the same as me. We're doing something right. I haven't been sick in 3 years. Same here. I can tell you. I'll just share one last thing with this one before we go. And I probably should do a podcast on this one because I got some really interesting information today on this topic. But back in 2018, my GP said to me, "Hey, David, you should be getting you should be getting flu jab." So I went, 2018. That was another lifetime ago, wasn't it? So I went, yeah, okay, yeah, fine. Just stick a needle in. I don't care about needles and stuff. So anyway, so I took the flu shot. In a very short time thereafter, I was off my feet in bed for a week, which really isn't like me at all. I never felt so bad after taking the flu vaccine. So that's made me do a little bit of thinking about the flu vaccine, which again, we can't talk about because we're on YouTube's, but I think you folks will know where I can go with this one. And I think we need to question science because that's the essence of science, isn't it? So yes, Northern Monkey, I would agree with what you're saying. Yeah, Chris Davies, he's never had a PCR test. Yeah, actually, that's another good question. Hands up, has anyone had a PCR? I mean, there's no way. There is no way I'm getting a PCR test ever. No way. I don't want stuff stuck up my nose and down my throat ever. Anyone? So has anyone had a PCR? I just not had a PCR. And there's some people have PCRs as frequently as they have a coffee. Some people seem to exist on PCRs, which is mad. It's so mad. And then lateral flows as well. In lateral flow, again, some people obsess. Here's the problem. Somebody coughs or they get the sniffles. Like, for example, I felt unwell about a couple of weeks ago. My producer, Jed, will tell you. I sort of had a kind of a coldy, fluey thing for a couple of days. So what did it do? Well, I just stayed in, and after a couple of days, I took a few hot drinks, and I was fine. I didn't need to go and get a PCR because I didn't have anything wrong with me other than the summer sniffles. I mean, it's summertime, although you wouldn't know that, by the way, outside, as I talk to you here, as we broadcast around the world today, it's it's chucking it down in rain. It's cool, it's cold. Please, Greta Thunberg, I beg of you, give me that global warming that you promised me. Please, Greta, don't taunt me with this rain and this cold. I want my global warming. I want to be warm. Well, I know I live in the wrong climate, but all the same, I enjoy the heat. Yeah, I see you guys. Leslie says she's never had a COVID test, no shots, no hand sanitizer, and you're still alive. Yes, Leslie. Same with here. Same with Lara. Yeah, we're all the same. I mean, this is the terrible divide that's happened, isn't it? Between across society, all of us here on these different platforms. Again, one of the things we love freedom, we're patriots. The other thing is we haven't bought into this whole testing malarkey. You know, we're not obsessives. If you feel unwell for a day or two, a couple of days, then yeah, alphabet cat, absolutely. Stu Frost says it's been hot in Coventry today. Well, I can absolutely assure you, here in the People's Republic of Donaghcloney, it's far from hot. Claude says you were green looking and it really affected your ears. I know, I don't, but it's still 100% safe and 100% effective. Oh yes, look at this character who popped up on my we can't say what we definitely can't broadcast what he said. It's too dangerous. But if some people say he looks a bit like me, but this individual claims to have taken 16 jabs, and he's a big advocate of them. So if you go to my stream, my Gettr, you will see the strange individual making all kinds of strange claims. Anyhow, we need to move on now because time is passing, and that's enough talk about tax. Bottom line, we need a low tax government. Keep your filthy, thieving hands out of my wallet. I bet you guys all agree with me in that one. Yes, Greta needs another hobby or a boyfriend. I think she's got a boyfriend. So yeah, that raises some questions, doesn't it? But we'll not go into that because that would be too awkward. So now what I want to talk about next is, well, there's only one way to put this, and it is to do with essentially how is it that we're all accused in the US, and thank you, very kind words, COVID vax virgin. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. But how come in the US and the UK, we're all accused of having white privilege, right? White privilege, this critical race theory, that, okay. And we're told we're discriminating against the minorities who come from all around the world to come here to be discriminated against. True story. Same in the States, same in the UK. They come from all around the world but we're so racist that they struggle. So there's a story I wanted to just rattle through with you. So we're going to bring it up here, folks. And it's damning. It's damning of our society. So this is the UK is roughly 85% white population, roughly 85% white at the time of the last census anyway. Might have changed a wee bit, but it's going to be around that. So in an 85% white community, if we look at the Russell Group universities, which are the elite universities, we discover that white pupils are now the least likely to go to these universities after a drive to make intakes more diverse. What? And then I completely reject this second point. The figures may challenge campaigners' claims that elite universities are racist. No, the figures prove that campaigners' claims that elite universities are racist. Completely wrong. Let's look at this. Let's look at the chart here, which, yeah, just bring up the chart. This is important. So this is broken down by ethnicity. Who goes into our top colleges? And you can see over the past 20 years or so. All right. So back in 2020, it was only 8.3% of white students were getting in. and now it's gone up to 10.5. Well, whoop-de-dee, but the percentage of the overall population is 85%. So that's a massive underrepresentation. If you take the black population, in 2010 it was 5.5%, it's doubled to 10.7. Now, the irony in that is that if you look at the UK demographic, our black fellow citizens are about 5% or maybe less than of the total population. So if you like, back in 2010, that was about representative and right. In 2020, they're doubly represented. Is that fair? Is that reasonable, do you think? And then look at the final figure. Look at the Chinese percentage at our top unis, and you can see how it's going from 30%. It's up over 40%. In 10 years' time, I imagine it'll be over 50%. So think about that. Have a think about that, because this is at a time. I know people got big questions about the Chinese Communist Party and all of that. There, I get all of that, right? But look at that. That is a shocking stat. Now, City Troll makes a really good point, which I completely agree with, and we're going to put it up, where he says over on the Gettrs, he says not going to university will raise their intelligence and allow them to keep their common sense. COVID Vax Virgin says we need trade schools. You guys, you're all ahead of me in this one. She says universities are outrageous, expensive, and you come out of it a libtard. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely do. I mean, I see universities. They're not they're not the universities that when I was young, I did go to universities. I went to one of these so-called elite universities. It's unrecognizable to me now, it has to be said, but I did go there. And I know back when I went to university, roughly about 10% of the age cohort would have gone to university. So 90% wouldn't. Now, everybody goes to university. And this is COVID Vax Virgin's point. What are they going to university to study? A lot of them. They're studying basket weaving, gender studies, critical race theory. What else are they studying? Oh, I don't know. Insect eating techniques. I'm sure there's a degree in that. So university's gone down the tube. That's my point, generally speaking. But in the same time, it's become little indoctrination factories of Marxism. That's what universities mostly have become. Now, not totally, but to a large degree. And also very, huge amount of politics. I mean, the average university lecturer is certainly a lefty, if not a dyed-in-the-wool Marxist. I saw a story where, did you see, I think it happened in the UK. Yeah, it was the UK, where a Jewish student, she was marked down and given a fail because when she was asked to do an essay on Israel, she didn't put into that the Israeli state was as guilty of as much barbarism as the Palestinians. Well, what sort of a university is that? Kim Erswell comes up with a great point. He says, I went to Oxford. I saw Gillingham lose 2-0. Boom! Little in UK football. Don't worry, we're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about football in a minute. Northern Monkey says, how to get into debt for life with no job skills is what they're studying. Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. And Claude makes a very good point. It was Tony Blair in the UK who determined that 50% of kids would go to university. Why? Because, trades, people having trade skills, electricians, plumbers, people work with their hands. Those are electricians, et cetera, et cetera. Those people have really important skills. I mean, a lot of the people coming out of university with their fanciful, gender studies degrees, you've got no skills at all. I'm sorry to break your heart if you're one of them, but those skills are really not transferable into life unless you get a job in the public sector or in government where you then use those skills to bully everybody who doesn't agree with you. Billy Piper got his BE honors in electrical and electronic engineering. Top man. I'll tell you what, I got my degree in economics. I was always interested in business and economics. And, and even then I look back in it and it must have been my inner conservative. But back in those days, at University of Economics, they all worshipped Keynes, John Keynes, and oh God, John Maynard Keynes was the man. And I didn't think his stuff made much sense. And at that time, you had Milton Friedman and all of that, which Margaret Thatcher was embracing. And I kind of thought, that seems more sensible to me. But I was very young back then when this was all happening. I learned that Brummy Pilgrim says, I went to the University of Life after attending the School of Hard Knocks. Boom! Yes. And then Louise Richard says, by the time they've left uni with a £50,000 debt, the degree is usually not much in the free. Absolutely. They're filling the shelves in Tesco's. And, well, you see, City Troll says, no, unless you're a Chinese spy, they keep those of Chinese heritage to a minimum. They score to high. Well, John Maynard Keynes. Yeah. John Maynard Keynes. He was a disaster, absolute disaster. Came up with really strange theories and was a bit of a strange bloke as well, by the way, but we're not going into that because we're on the YouTubes. Friedman, Friedman as well. There were economists that I agreed with back then, and as life's gone on, I guess my view has slightly changed insofar as best I believe in the free market, the open market, low tax, low government interference. In a way, the sort of stuff that Ronald Reagan talked about is what I believe in. The sort of stuff that Margaret Thatcher sort of talked about is what I agree with. Brummy Pilgrim's right. He says, Milton Friedman said that you can't have both immigration and a welfare state. Choose a side. Absolutely. Absolutely. He was right. Like many other things he said, Brummy Pilgrim, he was right. And so you look at the United States, look at all the massive immigration you're getting from the southern border. Look at that. That's destroying the essence of your country. Same in the UK. We're getting immigration as well coming across the English Channel. And the reality is that you cannot maintain even a vestige of a welfare state unless you control your own borders. And in the States and in the UK, politicians aren't interested in controlling their own borders. In fact, I think their plan is to keep the borders as open as possible, let as many people come in, and then those people are bought votes in due course, and it keeps them in power and continuity. That's why I was slightly surprised actually to read. Did you see, by the way, in the States that the Biden administration was, I think it was in Arizona, they were adding a little bit onto the wall where there was a gap. Did you see that? And then did you see the U.S. White House press secretary, Jean-Luc Picard? Karen Pierre Lecard. Did you see her on saying that no, they weren't really building it. They were just undoing the damage of the Trump years or something like that. What a train wreck she is. If you thought Jen Psaki was bad, this current goon that they've got fronting out for Biden, it's just she's brilliant. I mean, I love it because she's so inept. She is so just so unable. Perfect metaphor for the Biden administration to have someone like her as White House press secretary. She's great. I also love the way, by the way, I've got lots of issues with Fox News in the States these days, ever since, well, you know what happened in 2020, which we can't talk about because we're on YouTube. But ever since that happened, not much confidence in Fox, little confidence, apart from Tucker Carlson. Great photograph with him and Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene watching the golf at the Trump golf course there yesterday. Lots of time, for her, and also lots of time for Peter Doocy. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Peter Doocy, the Fox guy who sits in the White House press briefings and asks brilliant questions and completely embarrasses. Yeah, here he is. What a guy! In fact, I wonder, should we play this one? I wonder, can we play this one?
A border wall in Arizona.
So,
We are not finishing the wall. We are cleaning up the mess the prior administration left behind in their failed attempt to build a wall. And I just want to be very, very clear here. On day one, we returned the money, the $8 billion the prior administration took from our military. We gave that back to the military for military families, for schools, for bases. That's what that money was being used. That's what it was taken away from. And so, again, what we're doing is cleaning up the mess that the prior administration has done.
But President Biden, when he was a candidate, said there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. Yeah. So what changed?
We are not finishing the wall.
If walls work in that part of Arizona, is this the administration trying to get migrants to cross somewhere else, like in Texas? What is the plan?
We are not finishing a wall. We are cleaning up the mess that the prior administration made. We are trying to save lives. This is what the prior administration left behind that we are now cleaning up.
By finishing the wall, is this?
We are not finishing the wall.
By finishing.
Brilliant. That was brilliant. Ducey was brilliant. She really, really good. I mean, yeah, Lara, I get you. I'm done with Fox as well, by and large. But I do like Tucker is probably okay, and Ducey is probably okay. The rest of them aren't. But that's the photograph I was talking. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, isn't that a brilliant image? So March. I mean, these are three of my favorite public figures in the United States. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love her. Tucker Carlson, love him. And yes, you know who the bloke on the right is, Donald Trump. Yeah, that was an amazing exchange between Ducey and Jean-Pierre. So this is what happens when you let diversity hires get to these high positions, though. So where we see now? What have we got coming up next now? What's this? What? Bring up the next thing that we have, Jed, because I can't. Yes, the lionesses. So everybody in the world knows, or certainly if you're in the UK, you can't have avoided the fact that the England ladies football team have last night won the Euros, beating Germany, the old enemy, so to speak. And look, there's a few things I wanted to say about this because, first of all, I need to be honest and say, I'm not a huge fan of ladies football. I'm not a huge fan of men's football. So I'm not being sexist. I just blah. However, I wanted to congratulate them for their achievement on winning. It's all very good. And I mean, at the end of the day, they had to beat their opponents on the field of play, and they did that. Football's coming home. It's coming home. Well, yeah, I suppose, arguably. My only suggestion, well, I've got a couple of suggestions in this one. One of which is the England men's football team and the English manager, Gareth Southgate, and all those players should instantly start identifying as female. And then if they identify as female, they might have a chance of winning something. So helpful, yes. Football coming home. It's coming home. Just wish it wouldn't. Well, yeah. So maybe that's the male approach. And to be fair, I mean, these women are paid, I think, a small amount of money, £36,000 a year for their job being professional. Well, they're not all professionals, I think, though. 36 grand a year anyway. And you get the men who are paid millions and millions of millions, and they're pathetic, and they all get knocked out. So here was the scene, and look at this scene. This is Trafalgar Square, London. Trafalgar Square, London. Look at that. A sea of supporters and the ladies who played and won the big final last night. And it's very nice. It's very, very nice. And as I say, I congratulate them all, of course, on what they've done. But COVID Vax version says just loser dudes want to compete with women. Well, absolutely, 100% on that one, and that's part of the problem. But at least, I mean, there's a couple of things about this. First of all, This team that played, that won, like, they were actually all women. Are we allowed to say that on YouTube? They were all people. They were all biological women. So, well, that was quite good. That's quite a positive. I'm all for having only women in women's sport, and I'm sure you guys agree with that. It's not that I don't actually want to discriminate against anybody. If trans people want to play sport, fine. Let them compete against other trans people. Is that not fair? Is that not being reasonable to say? I did a thing on this the other day in relation to rugby. The rugby union, rugby union football in the UK have now said that only biological women should be able to play. Well, I should expect so. Why, if women's football fans wear the George Cross, it's not racist? Of course it's not racist. Greg Ulate says it's a good thing they didn't have Marcus Rashford playing. Oh, Greg Ulate, you shouldn't have said that. If you knew my history with Marcus Rashford. Some people say, David, most of you probably know, the reason I was taken off Twitter, although they've been trying to get me for a long time, was because I made a comment about Marcus Rashford. I thought it was a fair question to ask, but as everyone knows, you cannot ask questions against certain people or you will be absolutely buried. And that's what happened to me. And so it was in the great summer of, I don't know, 2020. I can't remember. It's so long ago, I've forgotten. I don't care. I was taken down from the Twitterverse, for which I am eternally thankful. But no, Peter, I think the women that were playing were the actual women, which is a good thing. But, and as I say, if trans people want to play against trans people, that's fine. But you can't mix them. You can't do that. No, that's not right. But there's another thing here. And I wonder, is there anybody out there, especially Brits watching this? It's been a bit of a feminist fest, hasn't it, for the past 24 hours? Now, this is not directed at the women footballers as such. It's directed at the people in the media, especially some of the women, the harpies in the media who are saying, yeah, go women. If you want something done, get a woman to do it. Well, okay, you want to get a woman to do it. So, okay, American friends, you back me up on this one. Am I right in believing that the American ladies football team that went and won the Olympics, I think, or the World Cup or some such, like, they played a college boys football team and they lost to them? And all that's saying to me is that there's biological differences between us. Thank God. I'm glad men and women are not the same. I'm really, really happy that, we're different. And I do agree that the women's team play better football than the men's team. I absolutely agree with you on that there as well. I'm not directing this at the footballers, but and also, by the way, a really good point, that Serena, what's her name, the manager, I'm very impressed with her. Blonde Dutch woman. What's not to be impressed? But yes, God save England from the British. Says I'm trying to read here, David. There was a female Northern Irish player with your surname. Debbie. Yeah, that was Debbie Vance. I don't know that I'm related to her, but us Vances are not. We're not plentiful on the ground, I'm afraid. So I don't know. Maybe she's a long lost distant cousin. I have no idea. But back to my point. The thing is that the feminists are getting a bit uppity in this one here, and they're talking about, there was a huge audience. There was a huge audience in the Wembley Stadium. Yeah, because for the last 2 weeks, BBC, you promoted this on the hour, every hour, hyped it. And by the way, there was quite a few German fans in the stadium as well. So, as far as I'm concerned, the sporting achievements. Yes, Pat Scanian said they lost to an under-15 boys team. Yeah. So again, no criticism of the English ladies team. They played in a competition with other ladies teams and they prevailed. And 3 cheers for them. That is good. But honestly, it's been leading the news on the hour. I'm sick of it. But yes, I was talking about whenever I was removed from Twitter. And of course, they all dance on your grave when you're removed from Twitter. Okay. And one of those individuals who was danced on my grave when I was finally taken from that hellhole was the renowned football pundit Gary Lineker. But guess what? Gary Lineker's got himself in a bit of trouble. Bring up the next yikes. BBC top talent Gary forced to delete a tone-deaf lioness's tweet. And what did he say? Well, you can see it there, folks. We zoom in. Brilliant zoom there, Jet. The lionesses have only gone and done it. And Kelly is England's heroine. Bra none. Oh, bra none, Gary. I see. He's making light of the fact that when the player scored the winning goal, she did a victory lap. She thought about it and she lifted her top off, exposing her sporting bra. Yeah, that's what she did. Now, I don't, if she wants to do that, I'm not gonna complain. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay. Hey, we gotta respect everybody here. But she did that. But anyway, all this useless git could do, who never won anything, is basically, sort of make a. Is it an appropriate joke to make? I don't know. So I'm unsure that in this case Lineker needs to be completely criticized. But had someone like me done something like that back in the day, he would have had a go at me. So hey, Gary, you need to sort yourself out. Yeah. Hi the way, T, by the way, on the YouTubes. Thank you all for sticking with me. So I actually think anyway, it's much ado about nothing. And then there's another point. Sorry, I see the comment from obviously here. No, I'm not going to say that. No, you can read it on Gettr if you're following the Gettr stream. Yeah. Dear. Brummy Pilgrim says, my ex-girlfriend used to do that in the pub. What am I going to say? Yeah. Northern Monkey, I agree. Gary competing for Sleazeball of the Year with brother Wayne. Look, here's the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter of this is, it was a good sporting achievement, but is it a distraction? Is the media distracting you? Because they've gone on and on and on about this. Meanwhile, you do have Pelosi shooting off to Taiwan, which could, God knows, do what. I have no idea what that's going to do. You do have the ongoing carnage in Ukraine. You do have the ongoing, monkeypox. You've got the ongoing, sixth wave of COVID, all these issues, which I think, cost of living crisis, people struggling to pay their bills because they can't afford the oil or the gas or the gas, whatever it is, right? These are the big issues. And what's the media talking about? Yeah, the lionesses. Well, you see, you'll have to forgive me if I'm a bit cynical about these things. But, if you figure that the way the media works, then you should question everything. Question everything the mainstream media tell you. You shouldn't believe anything I say, or hopefully you might believe me, but you should find out for yourself. But don't let the mainstream media divert you into, yes, Leslie B. Leslie says she's sick of being told what to think. And MoodyBot says, distracts from the controlled destruction of her way of life. Amen, bro. That's absolutely what it does. And that's why, I see all these people saying, this is brightened up the nation. It's a moment of great delight. Yeah. It was yesterday. Today's another day, and tomorrow is going to be another day still. So, actually, COVID vax version, I think Pelosi does need her chips, insider trading and all of that. Are we allowed to say that on YouTube? Well, tough if we're not, because I've just said it and Donald Trump said it. And I think we all know the level of corruption in the House is off the scale. And by the way, and I think it's fair to point this out, that corruption is not just amongst the Democrats, it's amongst the GOP as well. People, swamp creatures like Mitch McConnell, like Lindsay Gray. Well, I know they're in the Senate, but they're all swamp creatures. Swamp creatures. Well, what we need to see in November, by the way, is a fresh tide come in. So, yeah, Leslie B actually makes it. Leslie Butler says she's doing the exact opposite, which is good advice. Listen to what the media is saying and believe the opposite. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to find that that's okay. And Gregulate, you're right as well. It is bread and circuses. COVID Vax Virgin says, make sure her plane is stocked up, Lara. But I mean, it's going to have to be a jumbo jet, isn't it, to cover all Nancy's alcohol requirements. So anyway, folks, we're coming to the end of the stream. Don't forget the premium podcast, which we put out yesterday. If you click on that, you get yourself 30 minutes of me on a roundup of the week. If you wanted to listen to that and enjoy that, hopefully you will. And I don't know if we're going to. Oh yes, yeah. Hey Pelosi, I'm your pilot. Good luck on landing the plane. Boom. On that note, friends, I can't top that one there. So I hope Nancy's parachuting skills are good, because she may struggle. I don't know if there's anything else we're going to show or not. That's part of the excitement of doing these. You never know what's coming next, not least me. Yes, Lara, we need the swamp creatures out. Term limits. Yes, I agree with City Troll in that one there. Oh, get rid of Mitch McConnell. I just can't stand him. Oh yeah, we're going to finish with, okay, this is good. This actually, this time last week, I'm sure some of you watched it. I had really good, an ethical and honest doctor, Dr. Dave Cartland, on with me. Hope to have him back, by the way. He was really good last week, and I saw this on his Gettr stream, and this is an example of intense clown world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank each and every one of you for sticking with me during the last 60 minutes. Thanks for giving me your time. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll be back again on Wednesday night with my producer, Jet. We'll be back then. And then don't forget the live podcast on a Thursday night as well. We got all that coming up this week. But instead, we will finish, to leave you on a high, we will finish with Utter Clown World. Cue the video and then play out.